I'd say we're going to see the squeeze fade quite a bit from these two today.
I thought I had a fair chance, but maybe 1 in millions. Did I complete 180? No, I'm going there anyway. I thought I had a fair chance.
Welcome to the Squeeze Fade podcast. My name is Austin. Back on a Friday night. How you doing, Dustin?
Doing well. Yeah, it's been good last few weeks, and got a lot of good golf on the TV, and some cool finishes. And unfortunately, our Masters predictions didn't work out. Both of ours kind of almost worked out. Rory almost ran away with it, so we almost called one of those. Just the wrong player, right? But and then a little local rivalry here in the NHL world. The Minnesota Wild came out on top of Dallas Stars. I know you're not a big NHL guy, but being from Dallas, I figure you will probably root for them here and there. So
another terrible sports time for Dallas. So we just keep the hits rolling. Cowboys every year, Mavericks every year now, and now the Stars. So
yep. Yeah, it was it was a wild series though. A couple overtime games and just aggressive hockey and just really good hockey, which in general in the playoffs this year has been on the TV a lot. So it's been a lot of fun watches, and season's almost here. Got out and played a little golf myself. What was that, like a week and a half ago down in Iowa? The weather's pretty good up here, but a little bit better down there, and a little windy the day we played. And just played pretty well. So getting ready for some tournaments. Just a lot of good things on the plate, a lot of good things on the horizon for my end. What about yourself?
Love it. I mean, I know we were comparing notes the other day on how many rounds of golf we've played this year, and I think I have you beat by one round, which is I've played two, and I think you played your first recently, or first or second. So, but yeah, you got a good event schedule coming up. I'm excited to kind of follow along with that, and the weather's been decent here. We're that kind of spring. It's cold in the morning and nice in the afternoon. So I'd like to get out and play, but just haven't done it yet. But no, man, I'm excited. We got a really, I think, really fun agenda. The PGA Professional Championship was just on. Had some primetime golf out at Bandon Dunes, which was really, really fun to watch. We're going to chat a little bit of Don Rea. Where is he? What's he doing? What's he up to? We'll check in on the PGA of America. A couple updates there. You got some LPGA stuff for us, which I'm excited for. And then we'll wrap up with kind of a segment on simulator installations, like what to look out for as a homeowner. If you're thinking about building one, thinking about buying a sim, just the kind of different price points and things to look out for. So, I'm pumped. But you've played Bandon, so why don't you set the scene a little bit? Tell me, how much of the event did you watch? Like, were you invested? Like, tell me about your experience watching the what is it now? The PPC? No, the
PPC.
PPC. Yep.
Yeah, formerly the PNC,
Yep.
But the parent and junior, or parent and child, however, took that over, I believe. Bandon is an unbelievable place. I was there too long ago to remember, and I think they had Pacific, Bandon, and Trails, and they were building the par 3. They didn't have Sheep Ranch and whatever the other one is now out there. So don't remember a ton of it. I can tell you the weather was unbelievable. One of the days they canceled it. It was blowing like 40 or 50 with gusts of 70 to 80. So watching that tournament out there in some crazy conditions was fun. A lot of great golf. I watched a decent amount, but not nearly as much as I had hoped to. Just at the time it was on, it was a little tough to watch some of those days. But yeah, I mean, we talked about it. We had some intense finishes of former tour players, and where they were going to ultimately wrap up on the leaderboard and if they were going to make it or not. So I think we have some updates on that front, and but congrats to the top 20 that did make it. That's a huge honor, and I think something you and I both showed some interest in maybe pursuing a little bit more heavily down the road, just trying to qualify even for that tournament. And then, I think it takes a pretty special couple days and ability to make it to that next level. But if there was ever a way to play in a major championship, our skill set, I think that would be kind of a life goal. So why not pursue to some extent at one point or another, right?
Yeah, and it looks like they played Bandon Dunes. If you made the cut 3 out of the 4 days, and then they played Pacific Dunes the second round, or at least some of them the second round.
They alternated.
The first,
Yep.
And Jesse,
what is it, 390?
Droemer.
Side note, 390-ish players. So, made sense. I mean, even that, to go out on 2 courses over 2 days for qualifying, that takes some talent. Now, I will say, they had Old McDonald out there. It was the first week when we went out there that it was open. And so we actually played that first. But the staff that they have out there, can kind of coordinate, and they have a ton of people, and so they can make things like that happen. But yeah, I wish there was more of a crowd, right? To be able to go out there, but it's kind of tough.
Yeah,
to get that distance.
It's a tough drive, flight, place to stay, all that. But Jesse Droemer took home the title, 4 under total, 70, 69, 74, and 70. And some of the rounds that I watched, we'll get into the Tour Pro stuff and all that here in a second, but pretty impressive, honestly, that some of these guys who, maybe they teach, maybe they're in the shop. I mean, to play with that level of wind that I saw, and to hit some of the shots that they hit, which were, not easy. I was impressed with some of the top guys. And you can tell, they know how to play competitive golf. They know how to get their ball in the right spot. And then there were some guys making putts. It was nuts. Winds blowing, putts are breaking like a foot, and there were some really big putts made. I was thinking of watching Saturday, Friday night or Saturday night. It was kind of the third round, and but yeah, man, it was good. It's interesting because I've always been, not that I don't like Bandon, I've never been there, but I'm a little bit of a contrarian of everyone likes it so much that it's almost like a tourist place now, right? So I'm always a little bit Bandon, whatever. But every time I see a video, whether that's on YouTube or this, I get more and more excited about getting there at some point, especially Sheep Ranch and some of those as well. And then of course you got the main courses like Bandon and Peck, and and even what is it, Bandon Trails,
and Old Mac. I mean, Old Mac is in conversations with Jeff, he loves that course just because from the design standpoint, it's so a lot of template holes and nod to the history of the game. So that's probably us in 250 years are going to be looking at Bandon like the old course, right? Right.
They may have 30 courses, but by that time, it's just
a lot of space out there for sure.
Michael Block, Michael Block made it. He kind of,
this is third in the last 4 years or third in a row, or
I think he said it's his 10th PGA Championship.
It's a lot.
I mean, dude, he can golf the ball, like, as annoying as he is. But also,
some
like,
of those comments,
dude, to shoot 78 on the third round and then come back with a 69 to move up 33 spots and finish T10, like, that's you can tell obviously he's been there, done that a little bit. But
sure.
dude, some of the comments, I don't know what day it was, but hit a 3-wood, 5-wood, and immediately said go in, or like go in for double eagle, like go in for double eagle or something.
That one was hard to watch, especially being 30 yards short.
Yeah.
But I will say I was very appreciative of the final round comment, or right before, whatever it was, when he said the haters can hate. Like, yeah, it is what it is, man.
Right.
I know. You be yourself, and yeah.
The interesting thing is the haters can hate because he's still, like, he can still play. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. Like, it would be easier to probably hate if he was, didn't make it and could play anymore. But he's not the youngest guy, and he's still playing golf. Like, it's pretty impressive.
Yep.
Honestly, even though this is his full-time job is to play golf tournaments. So. But I do, before we get into anything else on that, we had a pretty lively hate watch. Maybe hate watch is a strong word, but of Charlie Belgian, who was tied for first after the third round, I believe.
Yep.
Charlie Belgian has played 146 starts on the PGA Tour. He's made $3.8 million in his roughly 10-year career. He had a really good 2-year stretch. I want to say like 2013, 2012, somewhere in there, where he made like the bulk of his money. But then decided that he was going to really quickly just get his books done, and so he could qualify for this event right here. So it is, I know Charlie's been through a lot and, all that stuff, but it's I wouldn't say I was a little excited to maybe see him fall down the leaderboard a little bit. There's got to be we've talked about it a million times. It's hard to police it and don't know, where's the line and all that. But, and the history of the PGA of America and the PGA Tour and, Arnold Palmer, like all that in the past, I think is still like tangled up in this PGA of America. But to play that many rounds or that many starts, to have 146 starts and make that much money and then decide, I can't do it there, so I'm just going to go to the PGA of America. I don't like that. It's
tough luck.
It's not for me. I think he's working somewhere at Old Town Golf in Arizona, and I think he's doing. Obviously, he's a good player. He's been on. I mean, if you keep your tour card for 10 years, like you're a good player. Like and so nothing's taken away from how good a player he is, but you are trying to beat up on guys that have to grind, and we talked about it a lot. He had that 10 years and maybe even more of only playing professional golf, whereas even someone like Michael Block has been working in the golf industry as a head pro, like
a day job,
right?
Yep.
Like you don't have unlimited time to. Your 9 to 5 is not professional golf like Charlie's is and was, and so I don't know.
I will say, a lot of the people at the top of the leaderboard, if not most, were collegiate players, right? Like you look at their histories. They played college golf. They played competitive golf. There are a handful, that make it, that didn't play collegiate golf and just got good at later in life or whatever it may be. But it is it's the best of the best of the PGA of America. But yeah, you're spot on. Like somebody who played collegiately, even if it was 4 years ago, and then has had to grind and work the shop and teach and even, yes, go play rounds, but it's with a member and you're answering questions and you're, running through on like course management stuff and pre-shot routine, whatever. Like that's a different lifestyle than somebody that played professionally for that long. I will say from the devil's advocate standpoint, he did do his books the right way, it sounds like, versus taking the A3, which I think or whatever the PGA Tour classification is. And, which I think they took that away. Like, I don't think you're allowed to play, into the PGA Championship if that was your way into the PGA of America, but I don't know those rules. I haven't dug into them deep enough.
Well, we noticed that on our section, recently looking at tournaments, some of the tournaments said no A3, allowed.
Yes.
And so, I think we need to look into that because it seems like that's starting to become more of a thing.
Yeah. And I mean, our other tour players going to try to go that route, that, maybe with some of the changes to the new structures and the way the top guys get paid so much on the PGA Tour and the bottom guys are getting still more, but, maybe it's harder to earn that money than it was 5-10 years ago. Are they going to start trying to play and get honorary roles or emeritus roles at clubs and, play effectively professional golf, play every tournament? And, it'll be interesting to see how things dig out. Like I hope it doesn't go that way. We've had that conversation on the podcast before where, like, imagine being that that person, right? That's 25, whatever, and got hot and started playing well. And, you're playing in a tiebreaker for the 20th spot into the PGA Championship against a guy that's played in 138 tour events. Like, I mean, yeah, I guess it creates some cool stories and whatnot, but yeah, I don't know.
There's definitely a level to, I mean, like you mentioned, the college golfer, there's a ton of those that I researched as well in the top 20 that were really good in college, and that sets you up to be, your ceiling is just a lot higher. Like you've played really good golf, and so I
lot
have
of
no
competitive golf.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Golf.
Like, and then they decided to go into the PGA of America, whether in college or after. I definitely have a problem even in the mid-am stuff and the amateur circuit, like playing for that long on tour and then deciding you want to keep up your competitive golf and try to get back to, like, from some of the videos that I've seen, it seems like it's only to get back to play in the PGA, the waste management, like to try to work your way back onto some form of tour, rather than a lot of these guys, Jesse, Ben, Michael, like they're good players in the top 3, but they probably all, they're not going to go play tour events like full time, just because they made it to the PGA Championship. So,
well, I think shout out to Ben, like he was the low PGA professional at 2018 at Bellerive when we were out there working that event. So, but I think this is his second PGA Championship,
right?
And he's my age, so he's like, again, that's got to be one of the most amazing experiences, whether it's your first, your second, or your 10th, as Michael Block. But like, yeah, if you're not playing a tour career, like that's what that is for, in my opinion. And now there's the whole other debate of, do PGA professionals belong in the PGA Championship, right? They say it's the deepest field of any major. I don't know if in ever, or the last 70 years or whatever, if a PGA professional has ever won. But I think from our perspective of like, hey, maybe that dream one day of trying to play super competitive golf and grind a little harder and whatever it is, like that dream is extremely hard when it's filled with 4, 5, 10, 20, whatever former tour players.
Yep.
So I think, yeah, there's a lot that could be said about it, right? But I think
that's
you're right.
interesting. I haven't thought about that, man. Like, do PGA members deserve to be in that? And in the new world PGA, the new for profit stuff and all that, and my thoughts of maybe let's make this a match play event, and that would probably make it where PGA Professional probably shouldn't be in there if the match play is playing against.
Well, I think don't quote me on this, but I think the last PGA Professional that won or got close was through that. Was through the match play, just because match play, I heard somebody saying this the other day, overheard it in a conversation, like match play is the really the only place where somebody with a much higher handicap has a chance against somebody with a lower handicap without strokes. Like you could have, good day, like they have a bad day, you just ham and egg it well and you make enough. And now if you're playing, if the whatever person is playing Scotty Scheffler, like, sorry, you're toast. Like even if he's having a bad day, it's probably going to beat you. But yeah,
I mean, maybe 20 is too many, going forward. Maybe it's 10, if they're trying to like get in some other.
I like it. I will say I love that PGA Professionals have a route to get there. I think from the PGA Professional standpoint, like why we join as members and to get into the industry, that's probably a huge aspiration for a lot of PGA members. Is I have the opportunity to play in a major championship in golf, and I'm quivering over a 5-foot putt to make my PAT, to pass my PAT. So I think I think it's, an integral piece of the PGA of America is we need that, like, as a hope and a North Star to aspire to. But, again, from the devil's advocate standpoint of that, like, should they be in there? Probably not.
Yeah.
It's cool stories.
And
if
speaking of that,
great happens, like Block, a couple years ago.
Oh, dude, that was as annoying as it became after. In the moment, it was wild. To see that happening on Sunday.
Yeah. Hey, there's a reason it was referenced in Iowa. The Michael Block.
I mean, and Jim Nance called it the best up and down he's ever seen in his life that Michael Block had on 18, which is wild to say.
Well, because that was for him to get into the next year's PGA. If he got up and down, he automatically was bid into the next one. So there's a lot of pressure on that up and down.
That is something on the back of your head. I bet all these guys in the top 20, they're thinking, what if the stars align? And they have a hot first 2 rounds, they make the cut, and like something happens, maybe it's a weird week and they work their way into the top 20, top 15. Like, you start thinking, oh, what if I win this thing? Like, I'm sure that has crossed their mind. It will never happen, but I'm sure it's crossed their mind.
You never know. Never say never, right? There's I think that I've seen enough like crazy stories in the game of golf, where, really good players, right? Again, this isn't like if you or I qualified, like probably that is a 0% chance that we would ever win that tournament. However, somebody that played at a high level collegiately, plays in a lot of section events regularly, maybe a little younger, a little more speed than me. They genuinely, if the stars aligned and everything happened in their favor and every kick went their way, like, you never know, right? So like maybe one day that happens, and I hope it does, because then it really justifies the PGA of America having this and getting professionals in there. But nonetheless, like, fun TV. As a PGA professional, it makes these couple weeks a little more special, and more, you have buddies that are in, and you're watching them and following them and, rooting for them. Like that's a fun aspect of it. And then if they make it to the PGA Championship, like that's fun. Like on TV, on the range, you're looking for them, watching their shots. Like it's a little more into the game.
Yeah. All I know is that if any of us, either one of us, make this tournament, the other is going to be on the bag, and it's going to
100%.
be we'll give it our all to make it. So I'm pumped, but that gets me into like our future, right? Of maybe trying to qualify. I know that you've done some in the past, and next year is Stream Song, I believe.
Yep.
You said, and so talk to me about what are your thoughts right now, like your golf game, getting into competitive golf, like over the next, maybe think about the next 2 to 5 years, like. Obviously, you want to make the PGA Championship, but like, what needs to happen in your golf game to get there?
Miracle. 1980 on the ice needs to happen. I need the gentleman that we can't remember his name at North Barrack to follow me into the abyss and walk out with me like Seamus in the kingdom. Golf in the kingdom.
Yep.
No, I've played in, I want to say like 4 PGA or section championships total throughout my 10 years of professional. 1 in Oregon, I believe, 1 in Texas, and then 2 up here, maybe 3 up here. But it's up and down. I was co-leading or in second place after 9 holes, and then the wheels fell off. My wife was on the bag. Apologies to her for that experience. Just for reference, I think I was 2 under through 9, and then I finished like 78, 79, and then played with a new driver the next day. So that was an accident. I tossed my bag and it caught something. No, seriously. I tossed my bag when I got in the room, caught the luggage rack, broke both my driver and my 3-wood. So yeah, and then the driver had a like a, I don't even know, like a balled up piece of tape, like a hockey player would have on their grip. And I played with that, and I think I shot 77 or something the next day. So, but no, it's a different animal. Like you have to have a different mindset. You have to be more relaxed and present in the shot in front of you. So it takes a lot of mental game. I think, again, if stars align and you're hitting it well both days, there's a chance that, I can make it. There's definitely a chance you can make it. It just takes, I think, more reps, right? And so this year I've signed up for a handful of tournaments, playing in the match play tournament in like a week and a half here in the section. Should be playing in the 4-ball match play with another pro here as well, and then a couple pro-ams with some members, and there's a few other events that I'm going to try to sign up for and play, just keep the competitive drive going. But I think that's, you have to work on the areas that you need help. Like for me, it's going to be a lot of putting, and some mid-iron and long iron game. And then you have to play and you have to kind of work on the mental side. I think for me, maybe not for you. Well, I think for you as well, it would help. The farms would help with that, but
that wasn't my fault.
That's fair. That is fair. Yeah, so I think it's doable. We both need to get back into the competitive side a lot more. And it's not just, you play in 2-3 tournaments and then you're ready for the section championship. Like it's going to probably be a year or 2. So, I think we have some shots left. I'm really pushing for like senior PGA championship, trying to do some things now to help, post 50 or 55. I can't remember the age there. But I know some professionals that maybe didn't have that earlier career, like playing collegiately and in some high level events that have played on some senior events. So maybe a little more realistic for some of us, but definitely going to just keep driving, keep pushing it.
And it was encouraging, honestly. Like there's a wide range of guys who are competitive that are, younger guys, like you said, that are probably assistants or maybe head pros. And then you got guys, the guy that was in the Tulsa section when I was there, can't remember his name.
Tracy Phillips, right?
Yeah, he played in the PGA last year, I believe, and he's definitely up there in age, but a really, really good player. So like, it's not this is different than, if we're trying to make it on tour and it's a young man's game. Like I still think, we have quite a bit of time, which is nice. And all it takes is one.
Toby Keith said it best, right? I don't remember the line off the top of my head. Maybe you do, but I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
You got it. You got it. That's I think that's a great segue into our next segment. Where is Don Rea? Where is he? What is he doing? Give me an update. I have no idea where Don Rea is.
Well, I'll give you a little backstory, and I think maybe we talked a little bit about this. It angered me. We're going to have this conversation at some point. But yeah, we found Don Rea. We were digging through different sections, tournament schedules to see what courses sections are playing. And we found Don Rea, the Yamaha Pro at Augusta Ranch. I don't remember who his partner was, but I think it was a T39 finish. Out of 52 teams.
Craig Smith, who also is at Augusta Ranch. I can't remember if he's part of the ownership group with Don or works there, but what'd you say?
T39.
Yep.
So he is he's grinding out there at the club. Not a lot of golf under his belt. A lot of stress maybe from the PGA and what's to come. I think you have an update there.
Rumors are swirling on Twitter that Don may not be allowed at the PGA Championship. We'll see. It's rumored that
be allowed.
It's rumored that he's obviously been muzzled. He can't speak on LinkedIn anymore. He can't give us any more sermons or anything else that he was doing on LinkedIn. So we haven't really heard from him other than the AI generated, letter from the president in the PGA magazine. But then rumor is really out there that he is not going to be at the event, which would be wild. I mean, he's still the president. He hasn't been kicked out. And you would think, this is our event, and we have 20 of our PGA professionals being there, playing in it. But it got me thinking, you mentioned he's maybe stressed. I wanted to just read out, the course rules for Augusta Ranch, what he would have seen on the first tee as he teed it up. I don't know how you're stressed, reading this, but Augusta Ranch Golf Club in Arizona, it's a I would say residential, just kind of your local, golf club. Course rules.
A lot of houses on it.
Yeah, a lot of houses. It's short. He put Top Tracer out there, the whole deal. Number one, have fun today. So that's just,
number one,
plain and simple. Number two, play the tees that make you happy. Just be happy.
Be happy. Have fun, be happy.
Number three, you'll remember your friends more than your score.
That's not always true.
Definitely not true. I did not remember my friends at the farm when I was playing out there. That's for sure. Number four, play often, laugh more, and live longer.
Hey,
with an obnoxious amount of dots in between those words. Number five, you will have way more fun today if you're not the only one having it.
Hey, be generous with your kindness. Be generous with your humor
along, just bring them
absolutely.
up.
Maybe this should be our new podcast rules.
This definitely should be our golf trip rules.
We need this as our sermon every morning of the trip.
One of us has to bring the other one along when they're just irate looking at flights. 2 more. Number 6, family, fitness, fun, forever.
4 Fs. So it's like 4-H, just one behind it.
And then we have what do you call it? Like when the first letter of each word spells something. It's like,
I don't know that word. I don't know that word. I have a feeling Gabby's going to provide it in the comments though for us.
Perfect. This number 7, great opportunities, lifelong friends. GOLF.
Hey, the live, laugh, love one with additional words in it, I think was my favorite, because that might be the new barn memorabilia go up on the wall. Live, laugh, love, golf.
Yeah. I think number 2 is absurd because most people are probably think that they'd be happy playing the tips and they need to move up like 3 tees so we can get this round going. So we don't need to be happy.
Play tees that your skill set allows.
Yes. But I just love the last one. It's got, the GOLF in red and everything else is in black. And it's just great.
Oh, that's top tier, man.
Yep.
It's top tier. Well, at least we found him.
Yep.
We know where he's at, what he's doing. He's playing golf. He's still kicking it. Hasn't been kidnapped.
No, he's still
cloned.
He's still doing it. He's still obviously, I guess, managing Augusta Ranch, owning it, whatever he does. Can't seem to get to his website.
Which is another wild point. Like if you're the president of the PGA or secretary or, these different roles, I know it's more of a board position, but like to have a full-time job on the side and still have those duties and responsibilities seems excessive.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be in some position like this where you're not depending to sit, you don't have to sit in the shop. You don't have to do all that, but to manage all this is wild. But he's it's just your typical public facility. He's hammering Top Tracer, right on the front page of the website. Fun, family, fitness, forever. Just
Fun,
just in
family,
case,
fitness, forever.
just in case you didn't know. But yeah, well, I'm glad we found him. We'll see if we see him here in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. And we'll I think there's a new magazine coming out, so we'll see if that's a little more personalized or if Claude or ChatGPT is taking over that script as well. I've
started.
More to come.
I'm still on the April magazine. I'm still deep diving into the ads. I'm researching. I'm crunching the numbers. So it'll be. I'll provide that shortly. But the ad count is going up from the last and
and you don't even have the March episode. So I think maybe I'll help you in one of these dives and maybe we do like a comparison of the last handful of months of percentages and pages and material. Love
it. That reminds me, the picture I sent you, the Minnesota magazine I got in the mail from
MGA.
Yeah, tell
Minnesota
me about
Golfers
that
Association.
Because that was the volume 1. Have you looked into that at all, or?
I haven't dug, so I can tell you a little bit of the backstory. So the MGA is just what any state or local sections amateur association is. So it's Minnesota Golfers Association or Golfer Association. They rebranded. So I think they're celebrating their 125th year of history or of, what would that be? Organization.
Yep.
And they redid their logo, went back to a more classic look. And then they rebranded the magazine that they used to send out. I don't know if they renamed it or how it works, but what a drop.
Jeez.
They have the Northern Lights over a golf course, extremely vivid. Unfortunately, I don't have mine. It's at the club. But yeah, the front cover blows you away. It's definitely like a table topper. It's sitting at the club. Like you walk in, pretty special looking book over there. So
I
yeah,
thought it was the Barn Club on the front there for a second. It
I
had a
wish.
similar barn, but yeah, I got that in the mail. I'm like, this is a magazine, right here. So
Yeah,
I'm excited to dive into that, and of course, continue diving into the PGA magazine and all the ads.
for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, so take us to the you got some LPGA updates for us. What you got?
Yeah, nothing major. Probably not noteworthy on the agenda list, but we do have the KPMG coming up here at Hazeltine in July, or I'm sorry, in June. I think it's the last week of June or second to last week of June. We have a member at the club that is on the bag for Yalimi No, so he caddies on the LPGA tour. So excited to have him, in town locally for a tournament. I just talked to him a day or two ago, and I think he just got back in from a 6-week road stint, like just nonstop travel. He was in, Thailand, I believe, China earlier in the year. So like they have a wild travel schedule. But he's got a lot of cool stories, and so excited to have him in town. I think he's going to come to the club, maybe with a few fellow caddies, maybe with Yalimi, and hit some shots. We have a fellow Sam Houston alum that is on the tour van for Titleist, and he's going to be here that week. Carson De Niro, so excited to see him. Haven't seen him in 8, 7, probably like 5, 6 years. I was down there with Kyle Butler, saw him a while back. And then we have Sam Lloyd, newer TrackMan guy that I don't think you were able to meet, former New Mexico rep, now on like tour and collegiate. He's going to be in town that week as well, supporting the tour. So get to catch up with him. So a lot of action that week. Our fam and one of the members at the club, who's a huge supporter of the tour, and his family, we're all going out. So the wives and the kids, and we're going to go watch a practice round, try to see Tyler and Carson and Sam and, all the players out there. So excited to see that. I did work that event back in 2019 when Hannah Green won. And I watched her get a I believe it was like a mental game strategy session in the Starbucks. I was sitting there like typing emails for TrackMan after a practice round. I look over, I'm like, oh, that's Hannah Green. And she ended up winning that week. So it was cool to kind of like somewhat listen in on that conversation and hear some cool points and things to think about. But I think that, yeah, that's I've tried to press you into coming up and see if we can do some fun stuff around that. We'll see how things pan out, but excited for that week, and may try to sneak out for one of the tournament rounds, see some action as well. We'll kid's gonna be 1 year old, so
Yep.
might not be tournament ready, but
Right.
practice round should be good.
And looking up a few things about Hazeltine. I know they've gone through some renovations, doing stuff. They're doing
I can give you a little history there.
okay, and they're
'cause
doing a
they're
short
big
course
account.
too, which is kind of interesting. Where they have
That's
done one.
there now.
Okay,
Yep.
nice.
I don't know if it's finished, but it's called Airy.
Mm-hmm.
I have a sticker, and it's like a bird logo, pretty slick
Okay,
looking.
nice.
They built some like corporate housing, similar to like Whispering Pines, what they have, like the on property condos
Yep.
or homes. There's a giant putting green out in front of those. They built this massive indoor outdoor, I want to say like 6 bay, 5 bay facility onto the range with TrackMan. So they've undergone a lot to enhance the experience. Course renovations, I think, are going to happen after the Ryder Cup.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. I know Davis Love was on that, I believe.
Yep.
But yeah, they I think original plans were maybe after USAM, before the KPMG, like a stage 1. They backed out, or just didn't want to leave the girls with some crazy conditions. And then I think the same happened before the Ryder Cup. But I may have mentioned it already, but one of my favorite stats about Hazeltine is it's the first golf course to host the Ryder Cup twice, which is kind of wild.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but another nod there, the new COO of the PGA of America, Phil Anderson, former, I believe, general manager out there at Hazeltine. Prior to that, he was at North Oaks. Worked with him a ton here in the Minnesota section with TrackMan, and just has always been a great guy. So excited to see what happens on his tenure up there, and what he's able to do and make happen. I don't know enough to be intelligent about what his role is even going to encounter, but hoping for some positive changes. We'll see.
Yeah, he just kind of reading the press release. He had a good quote that we talked about. He said, I'm especially committed to ensuring our membership feels heard, supported, and empowered, building an environment where their voices help shape the future of the association and the game, which sounds great, right? Like that's kind of what
Yep.
we're after here, is
Absolutely.
a little bit more of the movement and the aim of the corporate team back towards the PGA member, back towards the person working in the shop, back towards the guy that just had that dream, like you mentioned, of playing in the PGA Championship and wants to go to Sam Houston State or New Mexico State or whatever and get their books, but has been, probably jaded by all the stuff going on. And so, yeah, that if he can get some of that done and maybe get some of the C-suite and the leadership team focused back on the average PGA member, I think that's a win.
100%. Yeah. Time will tell. But yeah, again, with past experiences, more optimistic than I've been in the past. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Craig was the previous COO, or maybe 2 COOs ago.
Yep.
Craig Kessler. So was not very optimistic about that one. We've talked through the top tracer partnerships and payoffs and how things work. So this one feels a little more personal, a little bit more like back to the family of the PGA of America. So yeah, we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Love it. Well, yeah, I really would like to try to get up there for that, at least to play some golf and hang out at the barn and go to the KPMG, but we will see.
Yep.
But yeah, I think to wrap up our time tonight, we got a really good segment about simulator installations, homeowner. You spent some time with some of our good buddies, former TrackMan installers and really good guys up there. So where do you want to take us from here? I know we have a lot to cover on this segment.
A lot. Yeah, I think well, before we dig into like the details, give me your favorite sim install, right? And I know we talk like story was the Toby Keith story,
Yep.
But I'm talking like you and it doesn't have to be a home, but preferably a homeowner. Like you walked into the space initially and go, this is never going to happen, and it was unbelievable, or you designed it from A to Z and it was unbelievable. Like give me that story.
Yeah, the one that comes to mind, and it may be a little bit cheating.
We don't need names, obviously.
Yeah, no names. But I didn't design this one. I came in to do the training at the end is when I took over this territory. But I
oh, that opens the door.
Yeah, it was the one in Tulsa. The guy had it's one of those like new things they're doing with storage facilities where it's like these big, it's like big kind of man caves. Like sometimes if you're
Car garage,
if you're like a
boat
general contractor,
garage,
you would have it as like a work office plus your area. But then
store
some guys
your
use it as like
equipment, and yeah.
straight man cave. But
Were you in Detroit for that one on like the racetrack, and he had the Ferrari collection?
no.
Okay, that might have
Yep.
been no. I could have swore it was like probably the year you were gone.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah. No, I
that
didn't.
that
But there was the same vibe. Like, so walking
yep.
into this place, it's all open, and then you go up the stairs to a little loft, and obviously you walk in. He's got his Ferrari, he's got all his motorbikes. He's got a top of the line racing simulator. So like
I
the
remember
one the
that
one where you're
the
like
pictures
fully
you
in it,
sent.
and then the sim is in it's hard to picture it, but like you're walking straight in towards the kitchen, and there's like a small, basically perfect size opening for a sim, kind of facing diagonal, and he I mean it's almost like kind of floating in the middle of the room, and it's I mean it's just sick, like, because you're sitting there, you got it's fully man cave, you got all the speakers, you got TV on, you got cars around you, and you got this
Kitchen
kitchen,
right behind you.
perfect TrackMan simulator. Like it was actually, it wasn't designed for the sim, but he built the space and he's like, "Oh, I want a sim." And it happened to fit so perfect that the unit could be cut into the bar of the kitchen, and it was the
Oh yeah,
exact distance needed to before it hit the wall. Like it was crazy how it worked out. And I did a lot of demos there. Just obviously it's like a pretty good place to
key
take
fob
people.
in
Yep.
where you can just kind of get in. Okay.
Yeah, guy gave me, I mean, he gave me a key. I think I actually still have the key, but
Whoops.
he gave me the key, and really cool guy. But he let me practice there. I'd go hit some balls and make sure his unit was always up to date and all that. But yeah, that was probably the best install I saw. Just the other one that I wish I could have seen, because this is the one that, going back to your original question, like I fully planned and vetted and like did all that, it would have been the first, it was the first outdoor simulator, and
Oh
maybe
yes.
maybe in the country, but definitely in Oklahoma. I don't know about the rest of the country, but this guy, really like eclectic guy, like just, it was really fun to be around, but he wanted it to be out by his pool. And we're in Oklahoma City, like it's tornadoes and thunderstorms and wind and like everything you can imagine. And we talked about it. We spent a lot of time. We finally got it design. He had guys come out and build like a massive steel structure that the retractable screen would hang off of, and then he could attach it on at the bottom. He had guys come out and build steel structure where the projector would sit, where it was waterproof, but it still had air, like all this stuff. And I left TrackMan before it got installed, but
I've
it
seen
was
pictures.
it was being installed like right as I was leaving, and he's got the lights on the pool and all that. Like I
It
think
was incredible
I
looking.
thought it would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it came out now completely unusable for, any time prior to sunset. But it was
Right.
like, yeah, that, before you go to bed,
Yep.
every night would be unbelievable. Now, was that had to be kind of out, right? Like he didn't have neighbor, like I
Oh
can't
no,
imagine
he was right in the
in a
neighborhood.
neighborhood.
Oh yeah,
Oh boy.
yeah.
Like, could you imagine just 2 a.m. banging balls and your neighbor's just like, what is going on
Well,
out
I
there?
mean, the steel structure, like something he had to do. I can't remember what it was, but the HOA was on him about something in regard to the steel structure, and he had to make it to where like it was a certain distance off of the fence and
Oh,
and and
yeah.
like a certain height. And so he did that, and then we had the retractable curtain, so he could almost like close himself in. So even in the day, but still if the sun was coming in behind. Um, But then like you go right down the stairs. We ran the cables from there down the stairs into his basement where like the computer sat and all that, and we just Bluetooth the keyboard. But he had like all sorts of like old old school guitars and on the wall. Like he was one of those kind of collector guys, and he loved playing guitar as well. And but yeah, I wish I would have seen that, come to fruition, because that was wild and definitely gutsy to do that in Oklahoma City.
In Oklahoma. Yeah,
Right.
for sure. Tornado Alley,
Right.
and you got a pretty heavy expense just waiting
Right.
waiting to go with the next windstorm.
Yep.
Yeah, I well, the fact that you said that, mine was a little different perspective. Like I had nothing to do with this process. I was just the one that trained it and got to see it in its completion. So like the first one, I guess, for you. And this guy put he put a simulator in his like first story of his basement. So he had, I think, 3 stories, and he was a former, I don't know what he did, but I believe former military, and he had an indoor shooting range, which was one of the coolest things ever. You open this door and they bored out a tunnel 40 yards or so downrange, and he could go in there, close the door. It's soundproof. I believe he had like special licenses to have special weapons. So he's just in there, whatever kind of he wants to shoot down there, he can. So that was really cool. And then even more dramatic. So the simulators here, you walk down some stairs right next to the simulator. So if you were to come down from one set of stairs, I think from the kitchen into the basement, you would have to pass through the simulator to go down to this room, like a library with that shooting room. And he had maybe every animal down there taxidermied, like a bear. He had a crocodile. I want to say, I don't want to say a giraffe. I don't know if he had a giraffe, but he had just some unbelievable like animals down there. And in the pictures, it was really dark, so I didn't get a lot of detail, but you could see some of those back there. And it was just like, if you brought a film crew in here and did this, this would be every redneck's dream. Like,
Right.
this is what they would want in their house. And so that was a really cool one. But yeah, I would say my favorite one that kind of to your point, that I was from start to finish on, this gentleman, it was like February of 2020, so right before COVID, put a deposit down for a new home, for a simulator for his new home. He had owned different technology in his previous home, so he knew he wanted TrackMan, and he knew what he wanted from the design perspective. It finished in like 2023, I believe, so it was a crazy long project, but we worked through every detail. Computer was halfway across the house, run through all these tubes, special tubes to get like back for the cameras that he had integrated. He built like a cutout for the camera on down the line, so it sat recessed and nobody could bump it. He built this like the coolest back piece for like his bags, and then he had like the individual club, whatever markers where you could put each club down, because we know that we pull those out in a simulator and have those. So just every single detail from A to Z was thought out. He did the hard wall. It came out phenomenally. Had really great memorabilia down there. I remember I sent you a video. I think he had like Pine Valley, Augusta, and Cypress golf balls right next to each other.
Yep.
And just, yeah, that was one of my favorites. And then the view was out onto the lake from the sim room. So he kind of thought of every detail.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
Nice. Yeah. And I know it's that was honestly one of the best parts of TrackMan, was kind of designing it with the homeowner or with even the business owner, and just walking through that space, and it was completely blank, and you're just coming up with ideas to like make this thing come alive. And then, probably leading into kind of our, installation talk of like, most of the time back then, at least when I was at TrackMan, it was TrackMan installing it, right? We were, really like the best of the best to install home builds and custom builds, and then as this has become more popular and the indoor facility, or indoor golf world has grown, so has like the third party installers and people who have their own business. And
Yep.
I know you just kind of chatted with Kevin Shipley and kind of got up to speed with what he's doing. But yeah, it's been cool to see, like, maybe not cool for TrackMan because obviously there's a lot more competition now, but people are doing some really good work now that are even coming from the TrackMan tree or others, but they're doing really good work.
Yeah, I mean, it is well, I think there's a lot of options, right? And it's nice to have somebody to help you with those options, especially if your budget's a little bit higher, right? I think we were talking about this. Well, we talk about this a ton back in the day, and even as you think about options, you know, to work on the game and play more competitively, like the budget can vary, right? Like somebody can think, I'm going to get a simulator in my house and I have 2 grand as my budget. Yeah, you can do it for sure. Right. And then the next person may have 80 grand for their budget or 100 grand for their budget. So it's a wide range of what you can do. I think, I don't know that dollar amount, right? Is it 10 grand? Is it 20 grand? At a certain point, it makes sense to call somebody and get professional help and get recommendations. But I think that's where, to be cautious of, right? Like, what are you buying, right? If you call somebody and you say, I have $50,000 to spend, if they tell you anything other than TrackMan, you probably need to question what you're looking at right now. If you're expecting movable floor and putt view and all this additional capabilities in there, then yeah, you might be stuck with the same as somebody spending $1,000 on a simulator if you're spending that much on other tech. But yeah, it's a very wide range of what can be done. You can do it yourself. I mean, we did that at the barn where we built our bays out ourselves. It was the easiest way to save on cost and get the bays open. Also, we had the experience, so it makes it a ton easier. But I think you and I have both seen the person that wanted a TrackMan and bought the TrackMan and then didn't have a ton maybe left over to build out the bay, and so they did some shortcuts and unique things and nets, and more power to you, right? If you're able to do that. So I think that's where, like, just to be aware of, there's a lot of different tech. The lower the price point, I think we were talking earlier, sub maybe $4,000, it's probably going to be just to have fun with buddies, play with your kids. You're not going to get a ton of data. Maybe you can get some decent information and improve, but you're probably more so improving by just getting the body moving
Yep.
more often, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about this too. As we were kind of preparing for this, I'm thinking we talked about the TrackMan IO is what, like, the home is
12,995, I
yeah
believe, for the
13K
IO
now.
home.
So that 0 to 10K range, I think is kind of like the do it, like, go to the Facebook forums, go to Carl's Golfland, go to, like, or not Carl's Golfland, Carl's Place, and go to, like, those type of places, and you're probably going to build your own. Like, you may be able to get the Garmin, the new Garmin, or the Foresight, that's the Bushnell, and
The
maybe,
GC3,
yeah,
yeah.
and maybe get some form of screen from Carl's, and you can kind of work it out that way. But I'm thinking back to how my dad did his, starting out in his barn. He did the Garmin, the $500 one, to whatever it was, I can't remember the but it's kind of the basic one. But you have to buy
Yeah.
GS Pro, right? So you get GS Pro to run your courses. And he got the screen from Carl's and he kind of built it. It probably cost him $2,000 total, right? Like with everything, computer, and all that. And for him at that point, it was like, oh man, this is great. Like I can move the body. I don't get to play golf hardly at all because I don't really have a course nearby. But he got to move the body and hit some shots, and he hit way more balls than he ever would have hit without it. Right. So
Yep.
if you do have that amount, don't wait until you save up 50,000 because you can still get some decent reps in. You're not you have to take the data with a grain of salt. And then also as he transitioned to open up a facility, and got TrackMan, he's now taken down that sim because the difference of going to the facility and hitting on TrackMan and not dealing
It'll
with the
ruin it for you.
yeah, well, and also, like, he's like, "Man, I didn't realize, like, how much I'm dealing with disconnection issues with the Garmin, and, I'm always having to reboot the computer and reboot the Garmin, and I'm mid-round, and it doesn't pick up shots, and you don't have to deal with that, with TrackMan and some of the other higher dollar ones, and so there will be levels to it depending on how you kind of, your budget goes and then how you think about it, but you can definitely do something in that 0 to 10 range. You just really have to, temper your expectations.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge point too. Like, if you have $2,000 that you're going to go spend on a simulator, go get, a net, go get a computer, go get a relatively inexpensive launch monitor and a hitting mat, and bang balls. Like,
Yep.
have fun, have a blast. One of the coolest things I think about the TrackMan experience working there was, in addition to like being able to design these multi-million-dollar homes and cool spaces, was the person you'd walk into their house and they'd have this, a very poorly put together simulator that they paid for, or they DIY'd and it was pretty good, or, whatever. And they had a different technology and they're like, I put this in 5 years ago just so I could hit balls. And I've been saving up since for a TrackMan. I'm buying the TrackMan. I need a new computer. I know it. I'm going to get a new projector in a year or two. And like they worked up to it, right? And that may have started with a net and a hitting mat and they just hit balls. And then they added the Garmin, and then they added, the computer with the GS Pro, and then they upgraded to the SkyTrack. Like, there's a lot of levels to that as well, and it can grow with you. But yeah, I mean, we have members at the club that have, technology in their homes.
Yep.
And they still hit every so often and, want that data, but they want that, easy experience, premium experience, wider bays. Maybe they don't have, the height or whatever. But yeah, if it's something you want to do, it can be accomplished yourself. It can be accomplished on a budget. But then, to the other point of this, it can be accomplished by somebody that has a ton of experience, and gives you a great price and a great experience and a great finished product. And, that's an option too. And I think from the third party perspective, there's a ton of them out there. Some are phenomenal and some are on the other end of that spectrum.
Yep.
Is there anything that you would say look out for, right? If you're a homeowner and you're talking to somebody, you want hands off, you have a $35,000, $40,000 budget for your space, what are you looking for in that person from what you know about that side?
Honestly, I'm looking at it. If the components and things that they're offering or recommending, the Carl's is recommending, or I can go buy from there, they're probably not doing anything different or unique that would warrant like the higher price, right? Like as we know from TrackMan, projector is important, very important, because that impacts your experience. It impacts the graphics. It impacts really everything about it. And also, how much you can see the screen in a brighter area as well. If you have higher lumens and all that.
Definitely.
So, that's a piece that I see compromised quite a bit. And they're like, oh, the Ben Q from Carl's is great, which it's fine. Like if you're in that lower budget, but if you are spending 60 grand, 70 grand, and then you compromise on that because the installer, that's just what he has, all of a sudden, like, it can go down a little bit. But I know that projectors have caught up. Like it's not just Epson anymore. Like there's a lot that are out there that are good. But I've seen that you want to make sure that they have a good turf supplier. I mean, a lot of the turf comes from the same area. Even the screens now, a lot of the screens are good. Like there's you can get good screens really anywhere. But honestly, thinking it back to how we sold TrackMan, it's do they actually understand how you're going to use the space? That's it. Like if they're just trying to sell you something because they're going to get a commission, a higher commission per unit, then you should be able to snuff that out pretty quickly. But if they walk in and they have ideas of what they've done in the past, and maybe you came in saying I want Foresight, or even I want TrackMan, but they know that, hey, based on your budget or based on the size, Foresight may actually be better, or vice versa. Like if they're giving you recommendations on both ways, and then they're also painting a picture of what it's going to look like and where the cable's going to run and where's the computer going to sit, and what are you going to do if you have 4 buddies in here and not just yourself? Like, have you thought about that? And those are things that I saw guys get tripped up on all the time. They would be going down the Foresight route, and I'm like, well, do you have a son or a daughter? Do you have friends? Oh yeah, my son's left-handed, I'm right. Well, then how is that going to work? Right. So it's simple questions like that. If they're not asking that, then they don't have the experience to warrant, paying them that premium price.
Agreed. Yeah. And I think, it's the person is going to be probably the biggest teller, right? You get somebody, first of all, if they're not willing to come into your space and they're building a custom simulator, next, right? Yeah. Like you almost have to have somebody in there to see that space, or at least have somebody that's extremely knowledgeable of the process and knows exactly every dimension that needs to be measured and where, and they can communicate that to the builder or the homeowner, however, and assure that that's correct before anyone gets on site. But I think that you have to pay attention, because a lot of people are there are people out there that are directing you towards the product that makes them the most money, right? If, hey, I'm going to sell you this Unicore because they give me a $5,000 kickback. TrackMan only gives me a $2,200 kickback. Like if somebody's pushing a brand against a brand that you want, next, especially if it's a lower price point, right? I think TrackMan and Foresight, if that's in your budget and that's what you're requesting, and they push anything else, run as fast as you can, because you're going to probably get a really, really poor experience. I think, having like a list of people to call, a handful of people to call and talk to them about their experiences, because I think that post installation is relatively important as well. That was something big that we did on the TrackMan world. I know that, everybody has their own different process, and it maybe at that point it's done. Maybe they pay an additional support to get answers and help beyond that initial stage. But that's important to like have somebody help with those questions. Now, if you're going with TrackMan, they're probably going to help you with all that, with computer related stuff and things of that nature. So maybe a little less important for some of those, but it's there's definitely an integrity piece to it. You have to know that person's a good person, and not gonna to double the price because you're worth a certain amount, which I've seen. And so you just be cognizant of who you're dealing with. To the positive side of that, a couple of the guys that we know through TrackMan, have helped, with the installation side, have helped create different operational, improvements, have gone out and started their own companies. That would be the only people that I would ever let install a simulator for me is somebody, one that I know, and has worked for TrackMan. So I think there's 3, maybe 4, that we know, from that world. The Kevin Shipley, hoping to have him on one day in the near future and give us a story about what he does. We talked a little bit. He's been kind of in and out of building simulators the last few years, trying to pursue it, I think, maybe a little more seriously. So definitely going to try to help support him here in Minnesota and push some people his way, because I've worked with him probably 10 different installations. And I think the meanest thing anyone's ever said about him was like, why did he leave so soon? I wish he stayed longer. Like, this is the nicest guy on earth. Very hard worker, does really great work, cares about what he does. I think that's also important, is if they care about their, the industry they're in. And yeah, I think be cool to hear his experiences and perspective. How he's so good at what he does with the simulators. And then, yeah, we have some other guys, Tyler Kazazian, he's doing some projects up here in Minnesota as well. Great dude. Should have been on our bachelor party if you're listening. We're still holding that against you. But yeah, there's a lot of great guys out there doing some great stuff. Referrals are huge too. Like, talk to your buddy that has a simulator. If it looks awesome and it's been in there for over 6 months and they still trust the guy, like, probably a pretty decent person to deal with. But yeah, I think that's my third party side of, how I would look at that. And if I were a homeowner putting one in my house, kind of the things that I would think about and look at. Yeah, you did bring up a good point, though. There are a lot of ancillary things that people don't think about.
Yeah.
Where do you put bags when you have 4 people in the bay? Like, where are people going to stand? You have to swing a club, lefty, righty. Do you want cameras? Is this going to be a lot of practice? Do you need extra light? Are you going to have kids in there? Do you need something on the ceiling because of that? Like, there are a million things to think about that you don't think about when it comes to a simulator. So having somebody that is an expert in that regard too, and kind of pre-thinking about some of those things for you, is invaluable as well.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And one of the things that always came up, and I'm kind of thinking of that 50 to 100K, the higher end, you got some money to spend. You're going to write the check for that amount. Most likely you're going to go TrackMan or Foresight. One of the things that always came up was, working with a guy who was trying to maybe convince the wife or the family that he wants to put a sim in X room. It could have been the game room. It could have been the basement. And they seem to always get tripped up by, we need to have a sport, or family multi-sport to convince the
I
wife or
throw
whoever.
Footballs at the screen. Yeah.
And my recommendation would be, if you are the one, that's going to be using the simulator, you're the golfer, selfishly think of yourself in this aspect, because we know from all the times we're at TrackMan and going back and doing trainings, the multi-sport option goes away after 15 minutes doing it, right? The kids go off and they play outside. They go play PlayStation or Xbox, or maybe they actually get into golf, and they want to start actually playing golf. And now you have a poor simulator because you went multi-sport for football and baseball and all that. So I would definitely recommend be selfish. Look for, like, what is going to be, you're going to be the one in there the 99% of the time. Don't do it for your buddies. Don't do it for your kids, your wife. Like, even if the wife's the one doing it, don't do it for your husband. Like, do it for the person that's going to be in there 99% of the time, because those things they'll go away very quickly. And then the last thing I'll say on the high end premium side, if you have that 50 to 100 grand, a lot of times people will get trapped into the movable floors, putt view, all these ancillary, like rough and bunker and all these ancillary things that don't really matter and don't really add to the experience, when I'd rather you spend that money on, get a really good TrackMan simulator or whatever you want to get, but then make the area comfortable, make the sim a little bit bigger, make the spend money to get an AV guy in there and wire it up with speakers and TVs and make sure the cameras look good. Like all the things that actually matter when you're in there grinding at 10 p.m. versus the floor moves every time there's because that thing breaks, it doesn't work right, and you spend way too much money on that, and you sacrifice on the accuracy and the software side.
For sure. To the first point of the multi-sport, I've never seen a good multi-sport that reacted well, that was overly enjoyable, that had any differentiator that made it great. One day, maybe. I know that was a discussion that we always had at TrackMan, is like, are we ever going to do it internally? Maybe with the IO, who knows? But yeah, until TrackMan does it, it's probably means it's pretty bad is a good indicator, would be my assessment there. But to that point, what you said's perfect. Like, don't sacrifice don't sacrifice the simulator for the multi-sport experience, but you can create that alternatively. Like, you can throw a Wii in there and do bowling and do, Wii golf and do Wii tennis and like have these movable action based sports in there on the screen. You can throw a PlayStation and play video games on there. You can watch movies on there. You can watch TV on there. You can throw your Peloton in there and put the screen up on and, feel like you're at, wherever you're riding your bike. We'll ask Adeline next time, where he's pushing it to the limit. So, yeah, you can create that experience in other ways and not sacrifice that simulator experience. Even through like augmented reality or virtual reality rooms, like that's where you can have fun with it. So, yeah, you were spot on with that. To the second point, what was that?
It basically was like, don't get caught up in movable floors and stuff. Yeah.
I think, movable floors, same thing, right? They're until TrackMan, which I think they're starting to get into that realm a little bit. Until I see them do it, it's not something I would ever like aggressively. It's not something I'm really going to ever think about or pursue. But I do think putt view is a fun side game. It adds to the golf experience. If you have that little extra, I think that's something that could be worth it. They have a lot of fun games. Putting is really hard to want to practice. So if you can gamify that and have some fun with that, do it. I think that's worth it. But I think you're right. Like I heard it so many times, I want one of those simulator hitting mats with the bunker and the rough. And I'm like, it's all artificial turf. It's just colored differently and different lengths. Like, it doesn't affect the spin rate. It doesn't affect, if anything, it gives you like a bigger fly or lie or higher on the face than, and speed still through impact. So you're getting, higher launch and lower spin, which is going to go longer. Like this isn't true to that experience.
Like, you want the software to take care of that, not, because the software should have all the historical data and be able to understand slope and all that. And versus, trying to recreate it with artificial turf.
Yeah, I think if you can, if they can figure out a way to correctly do the lives, sign me up, because I think that is, one of the aspects that I always miss a little in the indoor experience is like, and I always joke around when I'm playing online with you or Miles or Jeff or whoever, and like if I'm in a weird lie in a bunker, I'll set up weird in the bay, and like it's fun to have that and kind of create that. But yeah, I mean, imagine some of the lies that we've seen on the golf course trying to create that on artificial turf. That ball is rolling off the hitting mat. Like
Yep.
there's nothing you can do to stop it. And then there's a level where, you just can't create what's in front of you. So, I think, yeah, maybe there's one day in the, not so distant future where that becomes a little bit more seamless and you can have maybe up to 5% of slope or something kind of relatively accurately displayed for you or in front of you. But as of today, I wouldn't invest into that. And like you said, I'd invest into make that technology the right way, get a slightly better computer, get cameras, add some training aids, like whatever it takes. Save that money. Like, just, I think there's certain things that are worth it. And certain that aren't, kind of like what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have a couple questions for you. I'm going to start on the lower end. Let's say that you want a TrackMan, right? Let's say you wanted a TrackMan unit. You had $15,000. How is there any way to get into a TrackMan unit and get some form of hitting? Like what's
not at that price point?
What's the cutoff to get, like, where would someone need to get to even get into a net situation or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you would. So you need, call it what, 13.5, 14.5 maybe now for the unit itself. Then I'm pretty certain that you have to have a projector to use a IO for like alignment, calibration, things of that nature. So I don't think you can get away with a net. So I think you need a hitting screen, a projector, and a computer, which is, low end, maybe $2,000, $2,500 that you can get all that for. So you're probably in that 16 to 18 range, if bare minimum, if you wanted to get an IO, and that's turf, I guess, on top of that, and some other smaller items that you need for that to run seamlessly. Now, could you, maybe find a pre-owned TrackMan and get a hitting mat? You find an indoor that's 5 years old, doesn't have hardware renewed, doesn't have software. You have to pay the $1,000 on top of it. Get one for $12,000. Then you can hit into a net off a hitting mat with a laptop or even an iPad. Yeah. Like that's reasonable. You have to get a little lucky. You have to find a unit out there. It has to be legit and not a stolen unit. I mean, I think you and I have both had multiple experiences where people bought units and called us and like, oh, I need, the license change on this thing. It's like, oh yeah, that's a stolen unit, bud. Yep. We've been looking for that. Golf Galaxy, San Francisco. So, I think there's probably 20 is kind of where I would say that maybe 17.5 to 20 is the entry point comfortably to be in the TrackMan world.
Yeah.
Now, if you had some of those components pre-set up, you had a Unicore 12,995, I believe, and that's in your hands.
That'll at least get you into the TrackMan Home, IO Home, and some golf courses and the software and all that.
And then you can always upgrade down the road, right? To, down range, you pay the difference, you get the IO full, you get the 500, 450 courses, whatever it is in the library, all the shot analysis capabilities, everything, right, is unlocked at that point. So, but yeah.
On the other end, you have a blank check. What's in your sim room? I kind of probably already gathered maybe some putt view and stuff, but build out a sim room with a blank check. What would be important to you? Like, what would you do?
I want a view of Augusta in my backyard.
Perfect.
I want that house in the parking lot. Is where this is going. No, I would. Number one, I would prioritize space. So if in my current house, not happening. I'm going to build a shed out back that's, 15 feet tall, 30 feet deep, 35 feet deep, and 20 feet wide. Like, we've talked about it with the barn club. The reason we built our bays the way we did is because you can't go into a space and feel confined. It's not comfortable. It's not going to leave. You're not going to leave that feeling happy about that session. You're going to feel confined and like you didn't get everything that you should have out of it. So, space would be number one. I would prioritize, that being as optimal as possible. Obviously TrackMan, in there. I would probably do a curve screen if I'm being honest. I've talked to Tyler Kazazian about that. I've seen a few. We sold one when I first started, so way back in like 2018, 19, and he had this like 180 curve screen. I think 2 or 3 projectors connected, and it was through HD, I believe. He ripped that out, threw the TrackMan in there, and they figured out a way to make it work, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, you're looking any direction. So I think I would do that just to feel more immersed in there. I wouldn't do any of the ground. Like, I wouldn't prioritize any of that, the ground moving. I would do it exactly like I did at the barn. I'd have, really nice single piece of putting turf with a very small hitting mat so I could putt everywhere in there. And then, I would have, if I had the space to build a green in the back, I would do it with some type of undulation, and throw putt view on that. If not, then, I'd just have putt view somewhere that I could do some games and things like that. And then TVs everywhere. Yeah. I like, have one on the game, one on How I Met Your Mother, and, the other on, our channel so we can get some views.
We need some.
What about you?
The curve screen's wild. I saw, at Yellowstone Club in Montana, they had a True Golf, curve screen. It was platform. You step
True
up.
Golf.
Yeah, it was not good, and that's why they wanted to replace it. But the curve screen was wild. It was nuts. Man, I think I'm similar on a lot. Like, I'm a taller guy. Like, I need space. I gotta have, that's why when I first came to the barn club, I was like shocked. I'm like, oh, dude, this is like, you don't feel like you're indoors. You feel like you got plenty of space. That's what I would definitely want to feel there. I need the stretch cage. I need something. I got to stretch. Like, I'm so tight.
I like that.
I need a stretch cage or some form of bands or something.
As of like the last 3 days, I fully support that. I'm in desperate need.
Need a foam roller. I need that whole the whole deal. I've done a little bit on putt view. The golf track here in Kansas City. I had a membership there as we were prepping for Scotland last year, and they had putt view. And what you mentioned earlier is spot on. Like, being able to, gauge like start line. Am I starting it off where I should? Distance control, like some of the games that go along with that, and just gamify it. But I know that on TrackMan, I think you can like type in a number of putts as an option, or you could back then. So like, you could take your ball, go to putt view, do your putt, and then like, you can make it a little bit of a cool experience. And if we're talking like unlimited budget, I would have real grass, like TGL.
TGL, dude. The only good part of TGL.
I know. That's what I was gonna say earlier. Like, real turf or real grass, rough, and a bunker, and but overall, just space, man. Like, I don't care about the movable floors or anything like that, but the computer has to be fast. I need space, and I need somewhere to stretch. That's basically it.
Yeah, I think I would add a sauna into mine now after you said the stretch.
Yep.
Like, you get a good session in. Maybe like a little mini gym, just somewhere to get a quick workout, and then go hit the sauna, and maybe a nice like big shower, take a quick shower, back inside. Like, let's get to work. So I think if that were an option in my life, I would be probably less productive. But I feel like coming out of there fresh, I might be ready to conquer the day,
Yeah.
and more susceptible to waking up at 4 a.m. and starting the day that way.
Yep. Dude, I think the sauna, like the in-home saunas are popping off. Like, it seems like everyone has an in-home sauna.
It's for a future episode, the Scandinavia trip. I didn't get to do a sauna. I really, really wanted to. But it's everywhere. Like
Yeah.
it's a very big part of their culture. It seems like very beneficial for the health. And yeah, I already like hot showers. So like,
Yeah.
why not just sit there and kind of sweat
Great.
it out and,
Well, they'll even
get some
jump in
toxins out.
the cold, sea or ocean or whatever, and then do sauna. Like that's,
Yeah.
I think they have it
Yeah,
figured
you're
out,
just going
man.
back and forth.
Oh,
Yep. I've got that part down. And back in the day, I guess, when we were kids, like hop in the hot tub, back into the cold pool. We've done a little bit of that in our younger days, but now we need the adult version. And we need the cold plunge tub and and a sauna room to get her going.
love it.
Maybe that's the final step of performance for us as we go into the competitive golf. Is we just have to start taking better care of our bodies, get some therapy work on us, get some more, Theragun, sauna action.
Hey, if anyone out there has a hookup for a stretch cage, a Theragun, a sauna, anything that
I will say, once we get you to move to Minnesota, the Barn Club stocks a Theragun. It's a different brand, PGA brand, and it's always ready and charged for you to get after it.
So the PGA brand, I mean, I guess it works properly.
It works well.
Okay.
It works well. I want to say I don't know how I got this thing or why. I maybe won it somewhere, but I've used it maybe 10 times in the 4 years I've owned it. And I read actually a PGA article or email where they were talking about they stock a Theragun on the range, and I was like, brilliant. I have one. It doesn't get used. I'm going to throw it at the club, and I've heard nothing but positive comments about it so far of, this thing is really helped me get loosened up before a round. We have a foam roller there, like an orange whip, people can get loose with. So yeah, try to keep it somewhat fresh at the club, and keep people moving the right way.
That Theragun that James brought to Scotland was a lifesaver.
Yeah.
After
that, I think it was the third day for me. I think it was every day.
Every day. I just had it on my foot for like an hour straight.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Yeah,
get the body moving.
Anything else on your mind? Simulator installations. Anything else you want to take us to there? Or we kind of wrap up from here.
No, I think we again talked to Shipley today. Hope to have him on soon, relatively soon. I think there's some really fun stories that he wants to share, and I know, I'll let him tell what he's comfortable telling, but I know I've heard some crazy stories from Shipley of installations he's done and things he's encountered. So I am very excited to hear what he's willing to share and tell us. I think same is true with hopefully Tyler we can get on one day, and maybe some others that we interact with and know and come across and believe in their work over the years. So I think there's some fun stuff there. Again, those guys traveled 40 weeks a year, 45 weeks a year in different states almost every week, and met some really cool people and insane people, and just the stories never stop from those guys. So I think that'll be a fun episode to get their stories, but also learn a little bit about that installation world and how they're handling things and how they're providing the experiences that we know they provide.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. I know we have at least 2 or 3 guys that, I think we can get on there. I know we want to talk in future episodes a little bit more about the Scotland trip and dive a little bit deeper into a couple of courses we didn't touch on. But as a kind of a plug here, our YouTube channel where you'll find this podcast, Stymie Golf, there's some good videos, some shorter videos, kind of pulled out from our podcast. One where we went through the old course, reverse routing, pulled up Google Earth. Like, I thought that was so fun to just kind of think
I think
back
we're going
to
to
that.
redo that.
Yeah, that was
I think, yeah, now that we have a better, like maybe a little earlier to next year, I think we should redo that. Just, this is the whole, like, we'll go through it with the yardage book, because I know you had the yardage book live. I didn't have mine. And just kind of help people exactly guide through it. But I think that was a great representation of that round.
Yeah.
Like we thought, I've played this. I know what I'm doing. And by like the 9th hole, we're like, I think we were teeing off here. No, we're over here. Oh,
Right.
crap. No, it was this one.
Right.
And like, that's how chaotic it is in real life is that experience, just multiplied by 100.
Yeah.
So
that was so fun. And we posted a video about Ely as well, just a clip from our podcast. And I know Ely is getting more and more popular, it feels like, by the day. And I'm glad more
you're
people
gonna have to find a new one soon.
I know more people are getting to experience it, but still one of the best places to go. And so we have some more stuff there, and that's all on our YouTube channel at Stymie Golf. So I think we got a lot of good stuff ahead, and this was fun episode.
Yeah, I think a lot of guests coming up, right? Like you kind of alluded to that with I think we've talked, maybe James, maybe Miles, maybe together, hop on, do an old course, reboot, talk about that experience. Excuse me, I think we've talked, potentially Jeff coming on, do a highlight of the Scandinavia trip that he was a part of, and, talk through that and the planning. Maybe having Adeline on to talk golf and life and how things are going. Some of the guys for the sim installs. So excited to have. I've also surprised guests. I won't give you any names. Buddy of mine maybe comes on and does a little major championship preview. Big fan of the show, he said. So we might have some fan guests on as well. And just have a little bit more entertainment, a few more ideas and perspectives, and I think a lot of fun stuff, like you said, on the horizon, and excited to see where things go.
Love it. And just for anyone who maybe want to find information about the Barn Club or Stymied, I know we're Stymie Golf on YouTube. Give us the rundown on like Instagram and those places as well.
Yeah, it's all the same, I believe, right? It's actually the original that we've dug into, unconfirmed, original pronunciation of stymied. So it's spelled Straitmij, straight midge, is how we've come to pronounce it. But that's the Instagram for sure. I think you have X account set up with that same handle. But is our YouTube handle that, or is it
YouTube
Stymied
is
Golf?
straight Stymied Golf. Yep.
Okay.
And so that's, they can find us Stymie Golf on YouTube and Straight Midge on everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, goal is to get a few more fun clips up. Not just these powerhouse hour and a half to 2 hour sessions, that you have to digest, fully, and just start trying to get some more digestible information out there for you. But, to any, buddies, people we don't know yet, family, Gabby, like, if you're watching, thanks. We appreciate it, and look forward to doing it more.
Yep. We'll catch y'all in a week or so.
Absolutely. Later.